Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's resume our complete beginner's guide to Path of Exile 2, shall we? So, I want to clear a couple of things up as we start. First of all, I do believe that the salvage bench is always available, so it is worth talking about it. So the salvage bench allows you to take equipment that has a socket like this hammer, or an item that has quality like the one that we saw before, where it's it will tell you it's of higher quality, and then it will have this percentage above normal quality that it is that buffs it. And if you have an item like that that you don't want to use, you can come to the salvage bench. Like, for example, this smithing hammer. I'm going to just push A and salvage this, and what we get is a shard for an artificer's orb, and 10 of these become an artificer orb. Remember, you can push R3 and just figure out, what does this mean? An artificer orb adds a rune socket to a martial weapon or armor. So you take socketed items, and then if you break down 10 of them, then you get the ability to add a socket to an item that you have. And again, this is something you always want to be doing, which is getting the orbs you need to upgrade the items that you like. So instead of just like only relying on chance, you can upgrade items that you have that you feel really strongly about. Like, and this particular item right here, I can't break it down. It's magical. We can disenchant it, but I can't break it because it's not quality or socketed. So that's what the salvage bench does. So even if an item is white and you find it out in the wild, on the nameplate, I don't think you have to toggle this in the options, but you can see if it has 1, 2 more sockets on it, and then just pick those up, bring them back, and break them at the salvage bench to get the fragments for, or the shards for the orbs to make your own gear stronger. Another thing I want to talk about in the options menu is that you can go down to let me see if I can find this. Right. Oh, I already have it checked. So make sure, I don't know if this is done by default, but I did it. Oh, and this tells you what I was talking about too. You can always show the sockets, and make sure you have show full descriptions on. By default, the game kind of makes things more minimal for new players so that you don't get overwhelmed. But I would say turn these full descriptions on so you can see everything that's going on with your item. Even if it's a lot of information that you don't understand at all, it will help you begin to learn about the game. So I definitely recommend that. I also recommend Support Gem Utility Pop-Up. This is just another way to make it clear to you which abilities can get supported by your support gem or which would work best with it. So, and then we have some other things to talk about before we start, which is that they've already updated the game. So I have been recording this just right after I've played the release or an early access, and the developers are responding, and a lot of things have started to be changed, mainly with drop rates, and we'll discuss all of the changes as they emerge through this guide series. So I'm going to keep playing to get further, but also it gives us the opportunity to talk about the changes. So they've made it easier to get out from being surrounded by enemies. They've changed it so your dodge roll can now push some small enemies. The drop rate of exalted orbs is way up. The drop rate from bosses has gone up. So they've begun to really help and change things about the way the game plays and quality of life. Another thing is they've made it so you can teleport between checkpoints on the map, which is great for clearing a map, and we'll cover that as we go. So you can see we now need to travel through Clearfell to the Grellwood for our quest. Now I have this item that we're waiting to level up to be able to use, and I also have this uncut support gem. So before we go out and do the quest, I'm going to use our support gem, and I'm going to engrave our support gem. And remember, you can see the recommended settings here, or you can push X to see all of the choices. I'm going to say I would like to try out Flame Wall at Hourglass. So what I'm going to do is make my Flame Wall deal a bunch more damage but have a longer cooldown. And I just want to see if this works with my playstyle. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to say confirm. And now you can see over here on the left, we go to the skill panel by default once we engrave a support gem. Flame Wall has on its support sockets to the right, it has a space for only 2 at the moment, but I've put a support gem on it. And if I don't like this, you can select it, and you could, with A, and you could say manage sockets, and then you can just take this Hourglass out. Now, you can't change it from Hourglass. It'll just be Hourglass, but we can put it away if we don't want to have it anymore, if we don't like the choice that we've made. But I'm fine with this. So, now I'm ready to go explore. And when I go to Clearfell, the instance is completely cleared because this is my first time in it. I made a new instance to come here. However, if I think it's worth us talking about instances. So if you have an instance made, you just tap A and you will return to it. But you can also hold A and open up this instance manager, and you can make a new instance which will reset all of your progress. Now you might say, why would I want to do that? You would do that if you are wanting to fight a boss again or just clear the area again. You can reset the instance, or you can go back to your own instance that you've already created, and you can see it's going to last for 20 minutes right now. And what this means is if I accidentally log out or I want to come back, I could still go back to my old instance and retain my progress if it's within the time limit. So I'm going to go back to the instance that I already created, even though I haven't killed anything. And let's get back to the grow wood. Alright. So I'm going to be testing, how I feel about this time limit on my flame wall. Yeah, I mean, 40% more damage is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But the issue with it is that if you miss or cast it in the wrong spot, you're sad. So this is a lot of what you do with support gems, is you just test them out and you see with what you want to do functionally, is this going to work for you? Now, if you don't like that, then of course, as we talked about, just take off the support gem and save it for some other time. But I'm fine with it, actually. You could see we just wrecked that hag. Oh boy. There we go. So our firewall is doing a lot of damage for us, which is beautiful. And we can actually fight Biera again if we want to. Remember, we beat her in the last episode. But if we say, I want to just keep fighting her so that I can see if she drops us some better treasure, that's definitely something we can do. I'm just going to shoot her. Got her. And look at this. We got an orb of augmentation, a regal shard, and a bunch of magical items. So this is maybe, you could reset the instance if you wanted to. Just keep coming and fighting her, but there isn't necessarily a need to do that. Now, you see how we got this checkpoint. I want to clarify something I've noticed before, and I made this comment that the checkpoint restores your flasks. It does, but only the first time you go to it. So the first time you get to a checkpoint or a waypoint, it will restore your flasks, which is great. Straw sandals, suede bracers, or rawhide boots. Do I want any of these? Well, I already have some straw sandals that have movement speed, so I'm happy with those. And these, maybe? Well, I can wear these right now, and they give me extra life, evasion, lightning resistance, so yeah, I'll just throw those babies on. Now, it is worth mentioning this adds to your evasion rating. Right now, we're so early in the game that it doesn't matter too much, but we're going to want to build towards either being evasion or armor. We're definitely doing energy shield with this character. I love energy shield, but energy shield is used in addition to either armor or evasion. So you might go all energy shield, potentially, if that's your focus, but usually people go to like some kind of hybrid of armor and energy shield, or evasion and energy shield, or they go all armor or all evasion or whatever. But you don't want to mix armor and evasion together. You kind of want to go in one direction, because usually, especially as you get higher, the stats that you have and you will start developing for your character will govern what kind of gear you can use. And early in the game, it doesn't matter as much because there's low stat requirements on stuff. But as we go, that'll become important. Alright. This character actually might... It's going to trend a lot towards energy shield, I think. But we might even do some armor, because we're going to be going strength. As a little bit, anyway. And why strength? Well, remember that scepters use strength. Here it is, the Grellwood. So let's just go through. And whenever you get to a new zone, the first thing you want to do is find the waypoint so you can get back here. And now it says Secrets of the Dark.
Grellwood has turned foul. I think I prefer it this way.
Search the Grellwood for evidence of the Count's activities. So we're going to look around and try to get the waypoint so that if we need to come back here, we can skip the Clearfell area and just come right here. Here it is. Oh, that's a checkpoint. Never mind. So a checkpoint means there's something, and here we go. Indeed. This...
A sister in the Grellwood? Curious.
...is a fight. And you could see she has a yellow nameplate. She is like a unique enemy. Alright, fine. Oh my god, we've been killed. So a werewolf jumped out and killed us after we were low. So luckily, you see that what happens when you die is we can just resurrect at the checkpoint. And we're going to kind of come right back at this checkpoint. Now, all the enemies will have respawned, so I want to make sure that there is nobody extra. So I'm going to actually fight these guys. Just stand back and zap. The reason I'm doing this is because this is a hard fight with this lady, and I don't want any shenanigans. So she's back, but we have to start the fight over. So pay attention to her attack patterns. You can see she's shooting that death beam, and the ground is frozen, which will slow you down. Even our attacks are slowed down. Heal yourself up. Drop in the firewall. Run! So all of our dudes are dead. But that's okay, because they're back now. I'm just going to get out of the way of that. Yeah, for this lady, our 10-second cooldown is a shame because she keeps teleporting. Just stay out of the frost as much as you can. We got her.
You tarried too long, dear sister.
Oh, okay. So, we died, I think, because of the frost on the ground. So, we resurrected the checkpoint. Now, watch this. All of that loot is gone. So, this is a good talking point, which is, you got to be careful after you kill a boss not to die. And that werewolf, like, added on, just pick up all the loot that you can to prevent that from happening. We got some of it. No, actually, I don't think we got any of it. And that's the tragedy. But we get the gem from beating her. You see she's dead. But we lost all of the loot. And that can happen. And it's a shame. And you would need to reset your instance. So if there's damage on the ground, like if there's areas of the ground that are on fire or that are, have poison clouds or the frost or whatever, you got to stand out of that, or you got to make sure you're topped off health-wise so that you don't die after you kill the boss, because then all of those drops are gone, and it's tragic. However, we can go to the checkpoint and... well, we need to find a waypoint so that we can reset the instance and fight her again if we want to get her drops. But I'm happy enough getting ourselves a support gem. I'm going to engrave this, and I'm going to just say, you know what? I'm going to go to Unearth, and I'm going to give persistence to Unearth so that our summons last a little longer. And we can just kind of look around. Alright, so we've got some dudes. Now, I'm going to run. And you might be, like, why are you running? Okay, I am running because I'm trying to find the waypoint. If there is one on this map. Now, our minions will probably die as we run around to explore like this, but that's okay. Sometimes what you want to do is just agitate all the enemies and quickly scour a map to find things like a waypoint or where the boss fight is or the quest. And I'm just going to turn on the big map here. You see all these glowies. There's some kind of candles. What's this? Right. But other times, if you're not finding the waypoint easily, I'm just going to go back to Clearfell, and I'm going to reset this, and I want to fight her again to get the loot. I'm going to enter my old instance. Alright, so I'm going to go to the map, and I'm going to check out... We're in Clearfell. So when we look at the map, you could see how there's a blue swirl on Clearfell. There is a waypoint here. And you see the kind of grayed out swirl on the Grellwood. There is also a waypoint here, which we couldn't quite find, but I just left so I could reset the instance because I want to take that lady down again and get some loot. She cheated me out of the loot. I'm not going to lose it. And if I were to inspect the points of interest around the Grellwood, you can see that here she is right here, the Forgotten Witch. We killed her. She's grayed out. We got into the witch hut, and what did we get in the witch hut? We got those flasks, and we ended up getting that gem. There's still the Tree of Souls and the Bramblegast that we need to defeat there. But I think something that's worth mentioning is, you know how this skull has the plus on it, and it says at the bottom, plus 10 to cold resistance? If you ever see the skull for an enemy you have to kill as a point of interest, if there's that little plus symbol, that means there is something you can get there that will permanently improve your character. So you always want to kill the skulls with the plus because they've got some upgrade. Now this is 10 cold resist, but sometimes you'll get like 2 skill points, for example, which is awesome. So I'm going to go and we're going to hold A, and I'm going to make a new instance of the Grellwood. We will have to fight everything, but this just means more experience and a fresh witch for us to get our revenge on. Now, you can't just go back to where the witch was because the map is randomized. So we're going to need to kind of... All right, you see these blue guys? Whenever you see the blue, you know it's going to be tougher. But now we have 3 bone crawlers. We've got a scroll of wisdom. They will last a little bit longer. I'm going to just roll out, fire up. Now we have 8 bone crawlers, and they, again, you're going to see them not last. They'll fade out, but they last so much longer with the support rune that we put in that it's great.
Not yet.
You see my mana over there? I like this spell, but you cannot indefinitely cast Unearth because it does take a good bit of mana. So you can't just spam that. But then again, I've got flasks, so I could use those if I wanted to. There we go. Oh boy. What a bunch of jerks. Now, sometimes with Unearth, if you're using this ability, and remember, you don't have to use everything I'm using, it can not want to target the bodies, and you're going to need to manually do that with the right stick. Now, when I'm clearing out a pack like that, I am spamming because I want to make as many crawlers as I can. Alright, we got a bunch of guys, so let's just give them this. An orb is fantastic. Sometimes with a build like this, you do need to just walk around, roll around a bit, so that your minions, if they've been killed, can come back to life. Alright, we've got our army up. And here we go. A lot of my guys got killed. So I'm just going to roll out, and they're back. Put down the firewall. There we go. Always break if you find interactables, whatever it is, make sure you break them and see if there's any treasure inside. You can break them by opening them with A, or many of your abilities should break them as well. Bam. I'm going to run. I'm going to put down a wall. And we're just going to cast a ton of Unearth to get our bones. Okay, good. I'm going to go up this way. All of our bone crawlers will, of course, die as I do this, but that's okay. I want to get a passive. And you see, here we are. This is a... there we go. We're going to get 8% to both. Beautiful. And I'm going to go to my inventory. Now those gloves that we are waiting for level 5, we can now wear these. It's going to give us some extra energy shield. It does give us armor, which is meh, but it gives us 3 mana per enemy killed. So we're going to disequip it. Now this rattling scepter right here, you can see if I compare it, it's better than what I have because mine's item level 1. It gives the same spirit, but this is level 2 Skeletal Warrior Minion. So I'm just going to equip it immediately in place of what I had. And do I want Mana Drain instead of Chaos Bolt? No, that's okay. And you see how I got an Orb of Transmutation on the ground? I'm noticing my character start to struggle a little bit. Like, some of the enemies are challenging, I'm having to use a lot. When this happens, I really think it's time to look at your gear, and it's time to start using orbs. So, I just picked up a new scepter. It's not great, but it does give me level 2 Skeletal Warrior Minion. Let's see what that means, by the way. I'm going to go out of this. And, it looks like it just makes them slightly stronger, which is not absolutely the best. So, is there a piece of normal gear that I have that I want to level up? I am going to just level up my scepter. So I'm going to use this on the new scepter we just got. And I'm going to change this into a magical item. And now you see, it just says allies in my presence deal 31% increased damage. So now all of my skeletons, everything, my crawlers, all allies are going to do more damage. Now you can push down right stick and you can see, what does presence mean? This means that 6 meter radius. That's very big. That's very generous. So great. And then I also have an Orb of Augmentation. So I'm going to use this on my scepter that I just upgraded. And now, oh my gosh, +1 to level of all minion skills. This is even better. So that is fantastic. Okay, good. Are these straw sandals... Let me see. They're not better than what we have because we have movement speed. The fire resist is nice, but it's not worth it. Now these, don't give any energy shield, so meh. You see how I have a lesser mana flask of the wide? So this recovers 50 mana. This flask recovers 90. I have a lesser flask of life. This recovers 50 life. This medium... Oh no, I'm sorry. This is the mana flask. This is the life flask. This is almost double. It takes longer, but it's so much better. I'm going to equip both of these flasks. Now, doing this will empty the flask. If you equip a new flask, it does empty it, but that's okay. Because, by the way, I just killed all my minions, and look at that. You see how I have 4 skeletal warriors now? Why do I have 4 skeletal warriors? That is because I have leveled up my minions. So, I now have a... My scepter is giving me 4, but I'm going to change this. Here we go. I'm going to make this so I now have 3. Do skeletal minions of my own, and I'm going to go out and boom. Now I have 7 skeletons. Sorry if I misread that before. It's the bottom number, the 4, is from my scepter. So getting level 2 did give me more. I was looking at the top number. That was the top number is my innate skeletal warrior skill. So I was able to, with the decreased cost of spirit from the +1 to all minion skills that I got, now my skill is more efficient and I can equip another skeletal warrior. So now we have 7 dudes just all the time. And that is a huge buff for us. This is fantastic. And that's what using orbs can do for you. So now let's keep exploring. Hopefully we find a checkpoint to refill our flasks, but just killing enemies will do that as well. Okay, we got a bunch of guys up. So not only do we... I mean, if you think about the stacking of these abilities, not only do we have 7 warriors now, but we also have them doing increased damage because of the brands that we got on our scepter. And you can expect that the brands, like, when you're using an augmentation orb, or an orb that will add another property to your magical item, you can expect that it's drawing from a table of options for that particular item type. And this is why customizing your own gear is so good, because like a scepter is going to have minion stuff primarily on it. And that will, like a focus will have spell damage. Here's the red veil. Okay, so it's another area. And minion stuff makes us much, much better. I had somebody ask in the comments why warriors instead of archers, and we want warriors because I want, you see this wall of enemies or allies I have, I want that wall there so I don't get hurt and I can just cast my spells behind it. So they're just like my bodyguards, effectively. And by making them more efficient, I can have more of them, and then every buff to their damage, to their abilities, now becomes more valuable because it's affecting the whole army. And I'm not even necessarily building heavily like I want to be only a summoner. It's just something I can throw in to give myself more survivability. Instead of just going at these enemies with only my spells and my wand, I can have a team. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort to do this, and it makes us so much better. I don't really know if I like the cooldown on Firewall. It's okay. I know it's doing more damage, but I like to use Firewall a little bit more. So I might take that gem off. Because especially with like the auto-targeting, sometimes if you miss with your Firewall and then you have to wait 10 seconds extra, it's a shame. But now we're like ripping through things, and that was just getting a new white drop, making it a magical item, and adding 1 brand has made that much of a difference for our character. Oh, here we go. Here is the tree.
Well, well. Who is this that adorns the Tree of Souls?
And so here's Una.
What happened here? This shade, is it still alive? Perhaps it can give us the answers we seek. Only the Count's sword has the power to bind souls to the tree like this. We must free it somehow. To release that being from the Tree of Souls, we'll need more than simply cutting his rope. The ancient runes that imbue the Count's blade created the binding, and only ancient runes can break it. There is a battlefield not far from here that runs red with rust, where the weapons and armor of countless Ezamites still remain. We call it the Red Veil. You should search the area. There may still be power in some of those centuries-old relics. Renly will know how to forge them. Bring the runes to him, and then, perhaps, we shall find some answers. I'll wait here. The old magics will protect me.
Okay, so a few things I want to say. Number one, we already found the red veil. Number two, right next to this tree is the waypoint. So if you're looking for the waypoint, it's by this tree, because you're going to need to come back here. Una is here. The hooded one is here, hanging from the tree. There are these runes on this tree. Look at my flasks. I have 2 charges of each. If I get the waypoint, you see they both go to 6. So now we have full charges. But I'm not done, because like I said, I want vengeance. And just to kind of keep talking shop about the support gem that I crafted, or that I had affixed to Firewall. This is how this game works. You just try things out and see what works for you and your playstyle and your build. And I've noticed, I think the cooldown is not worth it personally. So luckily, I don't lose my skill. I don't lose anything. I could just take that gem out and save it for later. So it's not too punishing. The game lets you experiment. And you can even respec. And the fantastic thing about respecking, here's the checkpoint, by the way, because here's the HUD. I'm going to hit this cauldron. The cauldron's open. Here she is. All right, so stay out of the trouble. You see how much faster we're killing her this time, by the way, because of all my minions? Yeah. So, did we get anything great? No. But we know we beat her, right? She knows. We all know. I'm going to drop this regular stuff. There's, if I have white items that I accidentally have picked up in my inventory, I just drop them. You can sell them, but I usually just try to keep magical stuff unless it has a socket. Or flasks are okay, I guess, if you need a little bit of cash because they're small. But then again, don't entirely sleep on white items, because if you have attunement orbs, you can elevate them to magic. So if that's the type that you need, then that's fine. There is still a named enemy that we need on this map, and we'll find it. Here's the Grim Tangle. Is that where we want to go? Let me keep looking. I'm going to uncover this whole thing and see if we can spot the bramble. We'll probably be looking for a checkpoint. That'll help us. A bunch of figures back here. Scroll of Wisdom. Scrolls of Wisdom are useful early, but very soon we won't have to worry about them at all. Unless we want to identify in the field. Alright. Let me check the map. You see this whole middle portion that we haven't gone to yet. Says no. There we go. Finally found it. So here's the checkpoint. So we get it. And in this area is a boss, and many of the bosses in this game, when you enter their area, they lock you in. So just be aware that you might get trapped.
What a beautiful monstrosity.
So watch out for the roots that it summons, obviously. And the purple death sparks. Just clear out, wait for our skeletons to come back. Firewall. Chaos. Oh! Okay. We got killed. I like how much I'm getting killed in this episode because I want to just emphasize to you that it's not a big deal. It happens. And it happened because I didn't move. This happens to me personally a lot. I get greedy when I see the boss's life bar get down to the bottom, and I just try to stand there and burn it down. And if you stand in this game, you will die. You have to move. I stood there, I got hit by the big attack. But look at this, the checkpoint is right here. Let's try it again. Let's do this again. Get out of that, use your healing potion, firewall. Okay. Put the firewall on him. You could see some of my minions that spawned outside the area, which is funny. Do not get hit by anything large. Our firewall and our minions are actually just doing enough work by themselves. And there we go. Oh my goodness.
Pity to end you, monstrous weed.
We got a unique item. And we got an uncut skill gem. So the way that I understand the update, bosses are guaranteed to drop at least one rare, and have better loot in general. We got a whole bunch of cool things to talk about. I'm going to... I don't need this at the moment, but I'm going to move my stuff around so I can carry more. Now, this shield that we got, we don't really want to use this with this character most probably, but I'm going to show you what it is.
I think not.
And this thing is a splintered tower shield. It gives you the skill Raise Shield. It gives you 26% block chance, more armor, plus 11 strength. It doubles the stun threshold while your shield is raised. It reduces your stun threshold, so it helps you not get stunned. This would be very good for warriors who want to stun or block, or not be stunned, but it's not good for our character. We could equip this in a secondary slot if we really wanted the Raise Shield skill, and this is a good time to... I only have one weapon set, but if I wanted to equip this in my secondary weapon set right here, you see I put it on my back. This will open up the ability for me to use Raise Shield, and you're going to see that left bumper has already been assigned Raise Shield. If I use Raise Shield, watch what happens. I immediately, without cooldown, will use Raise Shield. You see I'm holding the shield up, but you notice how my skeletons disappeared. That's because my skeletons are part of my first weapon set. So I want to actually be using my first weapon set and not that weapon set. There we go. And how do I switch weapon sets? Well, you can hold select and go to your bindings, I believe. Oh, does left trigger do it? Let me see really quickly. No, I don't think I have it bound. I'm going to need to bind that. So, I'm going to bind to left trigger. I'm going to go to the bind screen, and I'm going to bind the ability here just for A to B switch weapon set. Here it is. Toggle weapon set. There might be another way to do it on a controller, I'm not sure, but I'm going to hold left trigger and then push A, and you see my skeletons come back. So you can switch between your weapon sets instantly, and you can also use skills associated with the other weapon set to switch. And this is a great way to make your build more powerful, because it gives you access to more skills. Now, I don't want to do it probably because I don't want to lose my skeletons, but you might say, hey, you know what? There's a bunch of skills that I want to use with other weapons, and I can make myself more versatile by switching around, and you can toggle seamlessly between weapon sets. The other thing it does is it gives you another inventory slot to carry things. Now, this scepter right here, unfortunately, this one is giving me discipline. Discipline is okay. You can always, go to R3 and just see, well, what is discipline? And discipline grants your allies 26 to their total maximum energy shield. So it makes the allies that I've summoned good, but it takes away all the allies that my current scepter is summoning. So it's not as great for me. I'm going to look at the map, and I'm going to show you the Red Veil. So we already covered this. It is... there's the Grim Tangle, and here's the Red Veil down here with a unique enemy on it. I should be able to... oh, let me fight this guy really fast. Okay, get out of here. I think you can use the checkpoints to teleport, but I haven't actually done it myself. It's something they just added. Let me see how to figure it out. I'm at the checkpoint. I think I could teleport to another checkpoint somehow. Oh, maybe you do it from the waypoint. Well, I'll figure that out. Let's go back to town. And let's see if we can find out. So I'm going to go back to town really quickly. And I'm going to talk to Una.
Sorry, I was
And I'm going to disenchant some stuff that I don't need. And that's good. I'm going to accept the trade.
Sorry.
And then I'm going to sell
Please.
the other items I don't
Take
need,
your
like
time.
these flasks. Oops.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like this
Get
one.
rid of those. Perfect. We have a skill gem to use. I'm going to go to the well, make sure my flasks are topped off. And we also got this charm. I'm going to identify it. Charms generally give you resistances. You can see your belt, I believe, tells you how many charm slots you have. We have one slot. This gives us 25% cold resistance, which is very good, but it only lasts for 4 seconds, I believe. You build up charges, and I'm going to equip this so that we can just get a boost to our cold resist. We can also, though, build up your charges for your flask or your charm just by going to the well or a checkpoint or whatever. And so this thing is fully charged, and if we take damage from a cold attack, it will turn on and give us cold resistance. And it also gives us 3 mana recovery when used, so very nice item for us to get. Alright everybody, so we're doing well. We've got another skill gem. We need to go to the Red Veil. We're rocking and rolling. And this is a good place to end this episode of our guide series. We've died, but that's okay. That's part of the game. You just learn the fights. You learn your character. You get better. You get your items better. And it's no sweat. I hope you are having fun with this like I am. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care.